There's been another annual price rise with Games Workshop products. In this video, I'm going to go through some of the list. I'm going to give you my thoughts because a lot of people have been asking me, hey, Valrak, what do you think about the constant annual price rises at Games Workshop? I've actually covered videos about this in the past, and I'm just going to literally put down my thoughts again on how I personally feel and how I personally feel like the direction the hobby may be going in and what effects that could have upon people within the hobby itself. So is that something that interests you? Is that something that you want to listen to? Then strap yourself in because we're going to get waffling about that. So when it comes to GW price rises, for the last couple of years, we've been getting a creeping price rise from around 4 to 6% on certain GW products, mostly the model range, some with paints and stuff like that, etc., etc. The only one year they didn't choose to do this was during the year of the big COVID pandemic in the UK, and I'm sure that was down to like the factories and stuff, more or less working at minimal operating capacity, but again, that's going to be inner side politics at Games Workshop. The latest big update, which has just dropped over the past couple of days, is of course that it's going up again another around 6%, if I'm not mistaken, and this is going to be launching mid-September 2026. So this year, September, next month, we are getting another 6% price rise on some of those GW products. Now, if we switch over to this window, you can see some of the products which I'm talking about the old pricing and about the new pricing. So, for example, like paint sets and stuff, it was originally £22.50. It's gone up to £23.50, of course. Again, if you go down here and you look at this Excel sheet, which is floating around the internet now, you can see everything that's going up. Again, I'll just get it here. Look, Chaos Space Marines, £38. They're going to £39.50. Of course, this has been added to a big thing that we've been talking about. Well, we actually talked about on Sunday. We dropped it on Sunday with the new Orc price ranges, with the boys going up in price, with the Orc trucks going up in price, some of the characters going up in price. And a lot of people are getting frustrated. A lot of people are getting upset. And I can completely understand and I can completely see where they're coming from. This, at the end of the day, is a hobby, and a lot of people do this to relax, to get out there, just to get away from real life. And sadly for that now, that is not an option for them anymore because the prices are just getting to a certain point where they can't afford to invest into that product anymore. And that brings up the big question now is like, what happens now? Where do you go from there? Is it okay for people to be priced out the hobby? Is it okay for people to complain about people being priced out the hobby? Is it okay for people to complain about people complaining that they're priced out the hobby? There's so many bloody directions which leads from these pricing videos. I've done so many pricing videos before. I read all the comment section. There's so many different takes. People get angry about, certain different aspects when it comes to GW and raising the prices. Now, we don't normally get into politics on this channel, but I just want to touch the rim of it for a second because this is an argument that I'm seeing floating around the internet, and that's because the current world climate with the Straits of Horus, of course, gas prices, petrol prices, however you want to say it, have risen, which is leading Games Workshop to, of course, increase the prices. That's one of the arguments I'm seeing, which I kind of get, I kind of see, but there's some products that have already been made that are still going up in price. A lot of people are saying, yeah, but Valrak, then I have to get those products to the shops, which of course is the cost of the price, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, okay, I can completely understand that. But from the other side of that coin, what I see, of course, is what Games Workshop is now, and that is a multi-billion-pound corporation. Some people still see Games Workshop as a local corner shop, a local mum and pop shop, on the breadline, struggling to make their way in this big old world. And that is not the case. They're on the FTSE 100. Last time I checked, they were 6 billion in the market share when it comes to the stock market, right? They're doing deals with Amazon. They're doing like big production shows, etc., etc. They're not a little company anymore. They now have investors, and when you have investors, you have to answer to a higher cause now, because if you do not show profit, every single investor, I'm searching for that word, every investor take or investor report, let's say, then questions are asked about those people upon the board, and technically heads could roll. They could lose their jobs. So Games Workshop has to now make big profits every single report. We're talking tens of millions of pounds in profit, 50 million plus, 60 million plus, 70 million plus in pure profits to keep that ball rolling. And one of the ways we're seeing that, of course, is price rises. Now, off the back of this, there's something that I do want to talk about, which has frustrated me a lot with the current GW setup and the pricing, is that the prices are going up, and I feel the contents are going down. So, for example, we'll take something that I've really moaned about on this channel for a lot, and that is the Sanguinary Guard. The Sanguinary Guard used to be a set of 5, now it's a set of 3, and I personally feel when you open that Sanguinary Guard box set, the amount of fluff, that is bits and stuff, you get with that kit is absolutely terrible compared to the old kits. Not only are we losing 2 guys now inside that kit, the wings, like the purity seals, like all like the cool bits that made that kit stand out have just gone. Of course, that is cost saving for Games Workshop, it's cost saving for them in plastic, but for us as the player, we're losing out on that and we're being charged more. There's stuff like this I don't agree with, and it's just not with the Sanguinary Guard. There's other products that has happened to. I've complained about the power of free with GW, with like the 8-bound being free, the Sanguinary Guard being free, the Blade Guard being free, was it the Head Takers for the Space Wolves being free? It's like they want everything to be a free, and what happens? We lose out because we don't get like a full squad of, like we used to back in the day, 5 to 10 man units and stuff, which for me is what I want. I want as much stuff as I can in the box for the amount of money I'm paying for these little plastic models. For anyone who cares about my personal like vibe on this and buying into Games Workshop these days, I'll be honest with you, I've got so many piles of shame that I don't really need to go out and buy the latest Space Marine stuff. Of course, I get excited when I see the latest Space Marine stuff because I am like a child in a candy shop. When I see something shiny, I go, oh, that looks mega. That looks amazing. Am I going to go out and buy it? Probably not, because I've got a massive pile of shame. I need to get my head from up my arse and actually get into the stuff that I already have. I've got Fell Blades to paint. I've got 30-odd Terminators at this moment to paint. And that's just a tip of the iceberg when it comes to this type of stuff. Will I go out and still buy the codexes and the books and stuff? Yes, because I enjoy reading the lore. I enjoy listening to the lore. That type of stuff will never, ever change. But when it comes to the models, I think I'm kind of set where I am now, probably for the next year, maybe year and a half. And for those people who don't have that option, if you don't have a pile of shame and you're looking at GW thinking, what do I buy into? Because it is kind of expensive. I've been advising people, maybe look at second-hand places. Like, you should definitely be using your local hobby shops. Local hobby shops, yes, they do have a massive selection of 40k products, and normally it's between 15 and 20% off. Supporting them is the right thing to do, because these days it's very, very rare that you can go inside a GW shop and have like big games. There's a lot of boards in these shops. Not every GW shop. A lot of GW shops are very, very community welcoming, which is absolutely fantastic. But most GW shops I've been into recently are just designed for the high street, to get you in, buy products. You know, you walk around the shop and out you go, and that's it then. These local community shops literally exist for us to play the game. So I always say to people, support these local hobby shops, right? It is the way to go forward if you want to get into GW stuff. Failing that, look at eBay, right? There's some absolutely banging deals on eBay right now for the 11th edition starter set. You can literally get those push fit models if that's what you're into. If that's not what you're into, then don't go on eBay. But you can get some of those push fit models for really, really cheap. Like, sometimes I was seeing like the Marine side was selling for like £18, like for a 10-man squad of the new Intercessors push fit. Just go around, look for bargains and stuff. GW doesn't always have to be the main answer. You don't always have to be attracted to that big bulb in the middle of the room. There's so many other lights in the room that you can get better deals from and save money in the process. Anyway, Chaperonios, I'll leave it there. I'll see you probably this time next year when we're doing this again with people asking, hey, Valrak, can you do another price check? It's probably going to go up another 4 to 5, 6% again, right? It's going to be getting to a point soon where like combat patrols are going to be costing like £115, £120 for a combat patrol. I know, insane, madness. If you've got any thoughts, if you want to talk about how you feel, your feedback or anything like that, post it down below. Let's try and be nice. You know, if someone says something that you don't believe in or anything, or you don't see eye to eye with, let's not call them, you know, names. Let's just have a nice, mature conversation in the comment section. Let's not call everyone a cunt. Anyway, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching as always. See you in a bit. Have a great day, week, where you are in the world, and bye-bye.